Welcome to the Beige Planet podcast. I'm Paul Pate.
And I'm Al Lawrence.
We've got a super duper special guest on today, hailing from Las Vegas, Nevada, the one and only, the chief rabble rouser in the house, Ken Lamug. Did I say it right?
Woot woot.
Woot, woot. Yep. All right. He's in the
Welcome
spirit.
to the show.
Yep.
Welcome to the show,
Thanks for
Ken.
having me, guys.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It's great having you.
5 people. All right, Paul.
So Ken is the chief rabble rouser at rabbleboy.com. You can check him out there. This guy is prolific, to say the least. He's an artist, a filmmaker, a race car driver,
Done that.
and a dad and a husband. Right? Is that?
Yep.
That's just
yeah, that's basically my the short of it is I'm an author, a filmmaker, an illustrator, and a troublemaker.
troublemaker. I love it.
Yeah. And
That's the best thing to be.
Yep. I published my children's picture book, A Box Story, in 2012.
Mm-hmm.
Last year, I collaborated with a bunch of artists for a comic book called The Tales from Las Vegas. And it was something that we did on Kickstarter as well, which got funded. And
awesome.
it helped support our local comic book festival here in town called the Vegas Valley Comic Book Festival.
Awesome.
And right now I'm just working on my own comic called The Tall Tales of Talbot Toluca.
Oh, okay. So. Tell us a little bit about Tall Tales of Talbot Toluca.
It's an all ages.
Try to pronounce that.
It's a mouthful. So it's an all ages comic book. For primarily the way it's illustrated, it looks like it's for kids. But I got this idea basically long time ago, back in school. I kind of with a bunch of friends. We created this group called the Nerds Club. I think I might have seen Revenge of the Nerds at that time, so I decided to create this group, and we would kind of do weird things at school, like explore. This is back in the Philippines, so a lot of the schools there were kind of old from the Spanish era. So there's a lot of like weird underground places you could explore, things like that.
Right. Awesome.
So from that, I kind of got the idea, about these kids who, what if they discovered a secret military facility underneath their school? So like top secret stuff that was going on, and what would happen. So that's kind of where the idea came from. And on top of that, I was since it was the Nerds Club, we had different things that you needed to do to get into the club. You would have to like solve puzzles and do these kinds of things. So I kind of incorporated that into the comic book. So the comic book, it's not just a straight read comic book. There's a part of it that's kind of a Where's Waldo section where you have to find
awesome.
things.
Yeah.
There's puzzles, mazes, like different things like that. So it's kind of more of an interactive comic book.
Man.
So kind of adds a different level to it. Yeah.
You're working on this now. When do you think you'll be done?
I just looked at the date when I started on it. I actually started on it November of last year. So I'm close to 5 months on it. But like it's full color. It's close. I probably have about 8 more pages to go. But again, like you're talking about Where's Waldo type pages. So it's
right. I've seen some of your artwork.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
like a full
involved.
spread.
Yeah.
There's a lot of detail, and I'm finishing one right now, and just thinking about coloring it is kind of like making me cringe, because like, man, there's a lot of things to color. So
yeah. And we talked about this a long time ago. When do you do this? What time of the day? Because I know some people think I'm psychotic about my schedule. What about you? What is your schedule?
Yeah, I mean, I when I was talking about it, that actually inspired me, because I was like, man, this Paul, he's waking up at 4:00 in the morning to work on his stuff. Like, what am I doing here? I need to, I need to ramp up my schedule or something. So, like I heard this thing, I guess it's a saying. It was a study that was done, and they actually said that to master a craft or an art, you need to put at least 10,000 hours of work, practicing that.
Right.
And, I'm way behind that. So I'm like trying to figure out how to get up on it. And especially with having 3 kids right now. I just got home from work. and I was able to put one of them to nap.
Oh, awesome.
So
We got lucky.
yeah,
It was destiny that
so we got
for the podcast,
yeah
right?
we got lucky. So basically, when I get home, I just try to squeeze in as many hours, minutes of the day into it. But life gets in the way sometimes. You just gotta roll with it. Gotta roll with the punches, and
Yeah.
try to make up for it.
Yeah, I'm going to bring this up now. One of the questions that I had for you was, I know how dedicated I have to be, and hardcore just to get work done on my book. I look at some of the projects that you've worked on, and I'm like, you got to be passionate about this. What inspires you?
Yeah, I think passion. That's kind of pretty much the word that you would have to use. I think you would. The other definition, been thinking about this for a while, is you need most successful people in their craft. They need to have almost like a crazy, psychotic, consistent persistence into it that you
Yeah,
got to put in.
yeah.
And a lot of them, and I know, they're usually not married and have kids right away. They usually pursue their craft first and then think of that later.
Yeah.
So
I wanted
yeah,
to ask you, Paul kind of divided up my question for some reason. I just
Sorry,
want
Al.
how old, apology accepted. Just how old were you when you decided, what led you into this field? I mean, what inspired you? How old were you? When did you find that you had a talent for this? And who were your influences?
Since I was a kid back in the Philippines, right now I'm doing comic books, but when I was a kid, I really didn't have access to a lot of comics back then. But I was definitely into, I guess, video games. We had the first, basically the Nintendo, the Super Famicom in our neighborhood at that time. And I remember we had a small store, and we had a photocopy machine. And the photocopy machine would always break down. It was a Xerox, and there would be like carbon all over the place. And I would grab all the extra unusable paper, and I would kind of just staple them together, and I would start making comics out of it. And I remember making Transformer comics, Indiana Jones comics, and I would kind of just make my own story, And but being, back then, being an artist really wasn't a career that you would pick. Most artists in the Philippines, like, no, my dad would basically say, hey, if you want to make a living out of it, you can't be an artist. You can't feed your family that way. So I got deviated and went into more computer side of things, and moved here to the U.S. And did a lot of computer stuff. And just recently, maybe I would say it's been a while now, but in the last maybe 5, 7 or so years, slowly getting back into it through photography through filmmaking. I got a friend of mine. We did screenwriting together, and we were talking about it. And we're like, hey, why we could spend years trying to submit our script to Hollywood, and maybe not they will accept it, or we can just spend whatever money we have, buy a camera, grab a bunch of people who are passionate about filmmaking, and let's do it. Let's just make a film.
Yes.
And that's kind of how it got started for me.
Yeah, I know exactly what you went through, because I have a screenplay written. I'm currently on my 11th rewrite. And I mean, my goal though from the start was to avoid Hollywood. Because they won't touch the story. Paul.
So far, you're a success. Well played, Al.
But we got a few independent filmmakers around here too that I've just recently been in contact with. So hopefully I'll.
Yeah.
But I know exactly what you mean. It's
I have the same idea with my graphic novel. I could try to become, sit there and work on the art and become a penciler for Marvel or DC or something, and never get there, Or I could just go, bam, I'm doing it myself. This day and age, with the internet and with self-publishing, there's no reason not to just go for it, And I think Al said the same thing before. I just wanted to complete it. Say I've done it, and I've got a book sitting on my shelf, and bam, So
the landscape has changed. Anybody can just go out and do it, and again, it just comes to how much effort you want to put into it.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep. All right. Hey, do you guys think now's a good time to look at the website, Ken?
Yeah, take a look at it.
All right. Well, and then let's talk about filmmaking when we get back here, because screenwriting, filmmaking. But let's look at rabbleboy.com, which is Ken's hub. I want to go to the page that I like the best. Okay.
Okay.
Maybe you could direct me after that, but art prints. I was looking at this earlier. I just love your style, man. Like just the crazy, the child, like you just having fun,
Yeah.
And
you like click on them and blow them up. So
yeah, let's look at this one. I would love to draw like this. Look at that. That's awesome. I love it, man.
Thank you.
Yeah, click to zoom right here. Here we go. Check it out. So can you just talk about I mean, I could talk to you for hours about just this drawing right here.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of my illustration, I guess for the longest time, I've always wanted to create children's books.
Yeah.
And I don't know exactly where that came from. But even, and I know it looks kind of, like, I guess for kids, but there's a lot of dark side to some of the themes that I illustrate here.
Oh yeah.
So,
yeah, definitely. I
guess,
love that part about it. Yeah.
I guess you can say I've been inspired somewhat by Edward Gorey and Tim Burton-ish, so
it's got Tim Burton-ish look to it.
Yeah, definitely.
So a lot of that is, and it's probably, maybe that's the adult side of me, is kind of going to the dark side. So that's kind of what makes it interesting.
I definitely believe it. I have 4 kids, and they're tougher than I am. The things that they like, and they're gonna.
They can
fine.
handle it.
Yeah, they're gonna be fine. So,
right.
You have 4 kids. I thought you only had 3.
We've got 4. they keep coming.
In the last day.
Out of the woodwork.
Yeah.
Let's look at another one. Hold on. So, this is a good one. This has got more characters in it. This is just great.
Yeah. This is the Halloween one.
Yeah. It's definitely got a dark element to it.
Yeah.
And actually, I got to mention that a lot of the illustrations here go with a story, because most of them were illustrated for this online magazine called Underneath the Juniper Tree.
Okay.
They're on, I think it's Underneath the Juniper Tree mag.com. And it's an online magazine where a bunch of writers who create creepy, stories for kids,
right.
They write these things, and then they're always looking for illustrators to create graphics for them.
Okay.
So I found them, I think it was a couple years ago, and I sent them one of my illustrations saying, hey, check this out. Do you think this is a match for what you guys are doing? And they loved it. So I started kind of contributing artwork to them. And it's one of those things, like I said, you like doing it, and you might as well do it for free because you love it so much, and you like, you like the people that you work with. So you just start accumulating these. Yeah.
You're great at it, Here's another one. Wow. I love this.
Yeah.
I think I may have seen the video that you made. Did you make a video of this?
Yeah, I think I do some time lapses on these, and as I'm drawing them, I kind of capture it and then put a video on YouTube.
This has a kind of I don't think this is, it's children's. It's where the wild things are kind of atmosphere to it.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
I don't know that. I read those back in my. I was fascinated with those back in my childhood.
Yeah. And that was a little bit. I think that was a little bit controversial when it came out too.
Yeah.
That book.
Yeah. Really, was it? I didn't ever.
Yeah, because it was one of those stories where the kid was talking back to the parent, the mom, saying, "Hey, I don't want to listen to you." And I heard this story, and they were saying, "Wow, back then, how dare this kid say this?"
Right,
so,
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, it was from it basically was about a divorce, wasn't it? The story in general was about a divorce, a kid's story about a divorce. Kids trying to deal with a divorce, and they went off into this fantasy land where there was these monsters.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you definitely can have a passion for like children's stories or children's themes. You can see it; just comes through in your artwork, and it's just to be passionate about anything is to talk to somebody that's passionate. Is really fun. I really enjoy it. So I'm gonna stop here. Okay, boom. Wait, is there something you want to go back to on your website? We can do that.
Nope.
Okay.
Yeah.
Filmmaking. Let's talk about filmmaking. So what have you done? You just got to get, because I know Al's interested in that part of it.
Yeah. Well, it's been a while. It's 2005, 2006, and 2008. I worked on a couple of indie films. So a friend of mine, we're kind of working together at the same place, and he basically triggered the filmmaking side of me. He had a background in shooting commercial videos for TV stations and things like that, and he had a lot of stories to tell. So we were like just talking to each other, and let's just start writing this down, and start writing a script, So we did that. We spent the money that we had to buy equipment, camera, lights, things like that. The best at that time, which wasn't HD, I think it was still high 8, and
really.
So we got that, and we just started learning and reading things online. How do we shoot? How do we light a set? How do we do these things? And just started learning it, and we got a bunch of. Craigslist is a very precious resource to connecting with people, like a bunch of actors, other people who are interested in helping you out. And it was a lot of production meeting, a lot of rehearsing, and we started shooting it. The first one was Bounce, which was a story about a bouncer at a strip club, and how he had kind of a double-sided split.
My mind goes right to the casting couch when you say that.
It was a split personality bouncer, and I swear it's the first time I've been to a strip club, and it was only to shoot a film. And we had a lot of pretty girls to help out in it, so that was definitely a production bonus for us, production value.
Awesome.
We got that filmed. And
should I ask if we can see this on,
I'll send you a link.
Okay, we will put it up on the website. By the way,
it was interesting.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, it was interesting how it just started. Okay, we're thinking about shooting it. It's a 10-minute short, and then it ended up being a 45-minute short. So, we just started adding stuff. Yeah,
it's amazing when you go back through your project how much you realize you missed.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Just to keep the story flowing, because I had this, my original screenplay, I think, was 89 pages.
I'm
up to 119 now.
Yeah.
Which is the range I want to be in.
That's pretty good number.
Yeah. But after you take it to people, you let them look at it and say, get their feedback, and that inspires you to obviously, well, wait a minute, what more can I do here?
Mm-hmm.
Add depth to the story, add depth to the characters. So I mean that's a side, I still haven't really the actual filming of it I haven't delved into yet. That's people told me I should direct, but I don't know if I can handle the responsibility.
It's a different beast, the directing part. So
yeah. Well, I want to ask you real quick, how was your transition into the script writing?
The script writing was, I guess what helped us was that it was a collaborative effort.
Okay.
So there were two of us, and we would go back and forth as far as script writing, and my friend handled a lot of the directing part of it, and I did a lot of the technical side, a lot of the cinematography side of it.
Okay.
So yeah, and we would, since we had control of the whole thing, sometimes we would tweak things on the set. This doesn't sound right when you're saying it, so say it this way, or
right,
that way. So yeah.
As far as the script writing, because a lot of people will say writing a script's hard, whereas writing a novel's easier. I find it the exact opposite. I think writing the script is easier, but it's depending on what you're looking for, obviously.
Yeah. Yeah, it's for me, it's changing gears in your head. So, for example, writing, I have to change my gear from illustrating to writing, and it takes me some time to ramp up to the second, third gear.
Well,
But yeah, I think script writing might be easier just because it's more straightforward. You can just type in, this is what I'm thinking the set will be, what it'll look like. This is the lines, and a lot of it will be handled by the actor, the director part.
right. Well, you already have. I mean, being an illustrator, you already have the visual mind.
Yeah.
So writing the script, because obviously in a script you don't have the luxury of words like you would in a novel. So
Right.
you're able to describe exactly what you're seeing,
Yeah.
straightforward to the point.
Don't you
It's
guys?
Yeah.
I think about this a lot. Don't you guys think it depends? Some of it depends on, the story, and the writer may have a really tight vision of how this story is going to work, and there's not a lot of ad libbing by the actors, or that writer might want to direct it. And
Hmm.
I heard Samuel Jackson say the only person that he doesn't ad lib on is Quentin Tarantino movies, because the
Yeah.
script is written, it's dialogue, and Tarantino, he writes it and he directs it because he has a real tight vision of how he
Right.
wants it to go. And then there's other stories that lend themselves to collaboration, and the back and forth in the and
I
just
think
the the interaction of the cast, the actors, the directors, whether you're doing a story or even a children's book, the author and the illustrator. You know what I mean? It depends on the story, I think. No?
written for the actor to make the adjustments on the fly. With the exception of you have Tarantino, who's very straightforward. It's the way it's going to be, the only way it's going to be.
Yeah.
But you have other writers that are okay. Here's the framework. Go.
You guys keep
Right.
going. Keep going. I'm going to go turn the heater off. Keep going.
Yeah.
Yeah, I understand what Paul was saying. It's just that I think the majority of scripts that are written it leaves a window for the actor and director to come together and say, how about we say it this way?
Right.
Like one of the most famous ones, I'm sure you saw Empire Strikes Back.
Hmm.
The scene where Han Solo is about to be frozen,
Right. Right.
and Princess Leia says to him, "I love you." His line is supposed to be, "I love you too." They shot it apparently like 19 times, and it just didn't feel
It
right.
just didn't sound right. Yeah. Yeah.
And that's not Han Solo. And then Han Solo decided on his own, or Harrison Ford, I should say, on his own. He responded, "I know."
Yeah.
Boom, that's
Right.
what
Right.
the movie. It was left open for him.
Yeah.
And the screenwriters for that movie were already pretty powerful screenwriters. But they
Yeah.
they accepted it. Hey, you know what? Yeah, that's Han Solo.
Yeah.
So it's
I
up to
think
the actor, because the actor gets into the character that you created,
right.
becomes
And
that person.
yeah, a lot of times the actor can, improve on it.
Right.
And it's, again, I think it's working with, it's a team, right? You work with the director, the writer, everybody, and you put out the best you can, and everybody can give the input. And I think that's how you create the best product, is to, be able to collaborate and have an open mind on things. So
Yeah, I
yeah,
think so too. That'd be fun, just
I think
you come up with a good idea, and then somebody else comes in and says, hey, wouldn't this be wild if this happened? And
yeah.
so, I never thought of that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And I think that's why us, as, like, for example, me right now working on a comic book, and you working on your project, it's kind of challenging because we're working in a vacuum in a way,
hmm
that we are pumping this out and we're trusting our own instinct and hope that it will be accepted and it will be liked.
Yeah.
And
hmm
we put it out there, and you're like, kind of scary to see how everybody will react to it, because I've been working on this for 5 months, nobody has seen it.
Yeah,
You
it's
know?
insane. I mean, people look
Yeah.
at my book, and I show it to
Yeah.
them, and they're like, "Oh,
Right.
how many hours did you take to do this?" And they
Yeah.
just look at you like you're nuts. Well,
Well,
Yeah.
we
I went
are.
through- I went through the same thing. I entered my screenplay into a screenplay contest, and I told Paul the other day that I was waiting for it to come back with, "This is pure crap."
Hmm.
But the first email I got, I made it to the second round. I was like, all right, cool. I made it to the third round. Only one more round to go, but got cut after that. But still, I was, really hardly anyone had seen it. After working for a couple of years and then sent it out. I don't know. I was, like I said, I was hoping for the best, but expecting just horrible reviews. But
so are we all crazy? I mean, why do we do this?
Because we're crazy.
Is that what it is, Ken? Are you nuts?
I think so, because in all honesty, I've tried to stop, but I just can't.
It's an addiction. Is that what it is?
Yeah, we're a little bit crazy because we're making up these weird worlds.
Right.
We're creating these weird people that have these weird problems.
Yeah.
And we're putting ourselves in those. Like my character, I don't know if you've ever gone through this, Ken. Is I created one character. I was supposed to kill her. She won't. She won't let me.
Right.
Can't kill her. she's now dictating the story.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
That happens all the time, I think. Yeah.
You're doing a good job if you create a character that takes over the story.
Yeah, she took it over, and an English teacher had once told me that. Said every now and then you're going to get a character that will take over the story and tell you how to write it.
Right.
And I was like, no, that's never going to happen. I'm the author, blah blah. And sure enough, it happened. That is the weirdest thing is a person who does not exist is telling you what to do.
All right, hey, we got another question for you, Ken, that we had written down. I'm just going to read it to you.
You're not even going to try to hide it, huh?
No, I'm just going to read it to you. I told you, we're working on it, this whole podcasting thing. So when I look at your artwork and the projects that you have on your website, I see a style and a theme. It's whimsical, it's wild, it's kid-like, it's fun. It's almost as if Ken Lamug is a brand. So the question is, do you select what to put out there in an effort to brand yourself, or do you just kind of be yourself and what comes out is what it is? You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think the way I look at it is actually my style is kind of varied. It changes from whatever I feel is interesting at that moment. There is, when I created Rabble Boy, there was a conscious, I want to create this as a character, an icon, I guess a brand is what you could say. And for me, that's just for the marketing part of it. It's easier to remember. You just remember one word, Rabble Boy, or one name, and it'll hopefully eventually stick. That way, anything that I do will just kind of go under that flagship. But that anything could be anything. Because I've done other things. I want to get into creating, claymation type, things, toys, stuff like that. So, and that'll all go in there, and it doesn't necessarily have to have that same look, the children's look. It could be whatever, at that time interests me. I mean, I have, 10 different project ideas in, different stages, stories and things like that, that I've created that I haven't even touched on. And I'm hoping this year, if I could get two projects finished this entire year, I'm doing good. Last year I did 2. Okay. So yeah, this year if I finish this comic, great. And I can work on something else, another project that I'm kind of halfway through. So yeah, I'm just kind of playing it by ear. Things happen, in life. So you just gotta kind of move with it and try to do as best as you can.
Well, you're doing great. I love your stuff. It's fantastic. Everybody check it out at rabbleboy.com. Great artwork. You've got a lot of collaborative projects on there, books with other artists. And it shows a little bit of your, it tells about your filmmaking, and man, it's been a pleasure having you on the podcast.
Cool. Thanks for having me, guys. Thanks for inviting me.
Thanks for being the inaugural guest.
Yeah.
We're gonna have you back.
For sure. Yeah, when I finish all the stuff that I said I would finish, we'll talk about it.
Yeah, that'd be fantastic. Fantastic. Okay, we're to the part where we just bullshit about some random stuff that's happened. Or Al, you want to go first?
No, I'll let you go first.
Let me. I did warn you. I have an epic story. This comes from because I was looking at your website, Ken, and I noticed that you said you're an MMA fan,
Yes.
and we could have an whole other podcast
Oh,
just
nice.
about MMA. You know,
Yeah, yeah.
even though I haven't watched it in quite a few years, because out of courtesy to my wife, she can't stand it. So, well, Al, I don't
Yeah.
even know if you know about this. This isn't really MMA because I could not last 30 seconds in MMA. Somebody would choke me out because wrestling is I can't do it. But I as a kid I always loved boxing and growing up with some absolutely insane older brothers. I learned quite a bit about martial arts and now I espouse peace and so you know
Right.
but I love the sport of it. You know, it's just great. So years ago, this is back in the late '90s. There was this thing called the Tough Man Contest. I don't know if you're
Yeah.
familiar with it.
Yeah.
Um,
Yep.
anyway, I entered it, and so it was quite an experience. And I'll just tell you a little bit about it. It was in Muskegon, Michigan, and so I drive out there all by myself, and
I can just see it. That's you know what? That's a video right there. That's a short film
Right.
right there with sad music playing.
You need to be in your wrestling outfit.
Yeah, exactly. Sad music, like a guy going to his doom. You know,
That's exactly what it was. Oh
he
my
knows he's about to
God.
die.
Listen to this. So, I mean, it was just the craziest, funnest, wildest experience. I,
Yeah.
I go there. They have so all the guys. There's about 20 guys that are entering it for I was the lightweight. Okay, I weighed 185, and that was the top of the lightweight division. So I'm thinking, okay, at least I'm not going to get in the ring with somebody bigger than me. So we're all sitting around waiting to get a physical. Everybody's telling stories about bar fights and this and that, and they're just trying to act tough. And there's some
Let me guess real quick. Nobody ever lost a bar fight.
right. Well, there was always the night where they didn't get into the bar fight because they were going to get laid. There was that. But then when they got into a bar fight, of course they kicked ass. So
Right.
anyway, there's one guy. He was a young guy. He seemed like a mild-mannered, nice guy, actually. And he was talking about how he was at work and this telephone pole fell and it landed on his head and knocked out all these teeth. And I'm thinking to myself, Christ, that is the toughest person ever. You know what I mean? I've never had a telephone pole fall on my head, What am I
Yeah.
doing here? So, sure as shit, that's the dude that I get in the first fight. And
Oh man.
he kicked my ass. But I did not get knocked out. I lost the fight, and it was the longest 4.5 minutes of my life. It was
It's a
brutal.
long time.
Yeah. But it was wild. So anyway,
That's
my random fucking thing.
There's a mental image I get, and this stems from your bachelor party. I get this mental image of you just laughing, like butt kicked.
I'm just this
Wow.
guy. The bell rings, and this guy comes out, and I'm thinking, why are you so freaking angry? He just starts bam, bam, bam. Well, it's a fight, dude. You gotta, that's what we're here for. So
That would even be funnier if they actually asked them. Why
Yeah,
are you so
he's-
angry?
well, it got to the
Please,
it
why
got
are
to
you
the,
angry?
it got to the end of the fight, and he knew he could just pound on me all night long, but wasn't going to knock
Oh.
me out. And so
Yeah.
he was exhausted by the end of the night. It was one of those things. You go through something like that with somebody. He
Right.
had respect for me, and I had respect for him, no doubt. I never had a telephone pole fall on my head. So anyway, That's my epic story. Al, do you got anything, or Ken?
I'm trying to think. I really had really nothing interesting happened in the last 24 hours that I last talked to you. I got blocked on Facebook.
Again?
Again.
Yeah, it's the NSA. It's definitely
You're
the
just
NSA.
causing problems on Facebook, huh?
Yeah,
He's a troll.
I'm on a couple debate pages on Facebook, and
Oh no, that's I've veered away from talking about stuff on Facebook because yeah, it gets bad.
yeah, it does. It gets really bad. See, I joined them initially to debate. Okay, let's debate. But there's so many douchebags that I quit debating, and I hunt for irony and contradiction, and as soon as I draw it out of them, I pounce on them.
Right.
And then, like today, I got blocked. So I mean, it's a usual thing. I mean, I get blocked, or I get a nasty message in my inbox. Then I get blocked. I got reported the other day. I got put on 24-hour Facebook timeout.
That one blew my mind. I didn't even know there was such a thing.
Yeah.
I don't know what the exact comment was that got reported, but I mean, I've seen Facebook let so much other crap go that was just, blatant racism, blatant sexism, whatever.
Yeah.
Let that go, but I call a guy a douchebag or something, and then you violated our rules. Like, whoa.
Oh man.
So I mean that really nothing. I do have a story to tell, but I don't think Paul's going to authorize this story.
It'll be bleeped out.
What, are we going to lose our sponsor?
No, it was something that you swear to never tell anybody. You even forgot about it because I've mentioned it to you before, and you still don't know.
Well, this is obviously a fiction.
No. Back in the 90s, Paul and our big thing was Thursday night USA Cafe. It's a bar here at MSU. And it was me, Paul, and our friend Kevin Miller. And our friend Kevin, I'm not sure what was up his butt that day, but he left early. So Paul and I had to walk home. Actually walk to the car, which was about 3 miles up Hagedorn Road.
Okay.
So like 2 o'clock in the morning. We closed the bar down.
A lot of walking in those days.
Yeah. We get about halfway there.
Who knows what's coming?
But see, the point that we had reached where this started happening was we had passed every single restaurant. Every possible detour pit stop to go to. We were just out in the middle of no man's land. We were by a middle. Paul has to go poop.
Oh no!
Oh no! This doesn't sound good.
And he's got it bad. And we're literally right across from my old middle school in East Lansing, and there's a one of those power substations. And it's dark out, but I see Paul's shadow leaned up against the building.
Can you demonstrate, please? This is the worst story.
Using the wall as a brace.
Oh man.
And I'm laughing so freaking hard because we're hammered.
Yeah.
And when he gets done doing whatever he's doing, he comes running up to me and goes, "Don't you ever tell me."
Here we are. See, my mom's going to hear about this story now. And Ken's kids are in the background. They're crying.
Oh man.
That was. I gotta tell you though, Paul. That night sticks with me over any night that we ever had, except for the Rose Bowl night where I got punched in the face by that cop.
Yeah, we could do that. Yes, that's an epic story.
Yeah.
We'll have to tell that another time. In fact, Ken, the next time you're on, you got to work on your project, get your comic book done, so we can have you back on the podcast. And
sounds good.
We'll tell you about the Rose Bowl, the story. Oh my word.
Yeah.
Anyway, all right, man. That's it. How do we end the show, Al? That was the Beige Planet Podcast. Thanks for tuning in. Come back next time. Ken Lamug,
Thanks
awesome
for coming.
having you, man.
Thank you, guys.
You're always welcome back.
Cool.
Yep. And check out Ken at rabbleboy.com. He's got beautiful artwork, and dude's talented. So
We'll post a link to the site on our page.
Yep, definitely.